Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath, and this is a 5-minute review for the movie Child's Play, the 2019 remake of Child's Play. I just came out of the movie theater. I'm in the parking lot, and so it's kind of a rainy thunderstorm afternoon, and this feels appropriate to talk about the remake of Child's Play. Listen, before we can even get to this movie, we have to talk about the fact that Don Mancini created the Chucky character, created Child's Play. Brad Dourif has been Chucky, the voice, the persona of Chucky for decades, and that both the creator, director, and the star are still attached to new ongoing Chucky projects. There have been, 7 movies in that franchise, and there's there's a series coming to Sci-Fi in the not too distant future as I'm recording this video. But yet Orion/MGM has decided they want to make their own Child's Play movie without the creator, without the star. And so that's what this is. And before we can even talk about this Child's Play remake, we have to acknowledge all those things are absent. And that's a big ask for a lot of people to say, well, forget those things and let's just talk about the movie. Because the horror community, very loyal. This movie should not exist. There's no reason that this movie should exist. And yet this movie does exist. So rather than sit here and review what should not exist, I'm going to talk about the movie that I just saw. Because it does exist. They made it. How is it? So with all that out of the way, this movie's all right. It's not bad. I actually kind of like it. It really presents, this is non-spoilers. These are always going to be non-spoiler reviews unless I say otherwise, but it does some really interesting things with technology. Listen, when you take the Charles Lee Ray, Brad Dourif element out of this, the supernatural element of the original Child's Play series, what you're left with is just cold hard technology. And the way that this movie applies that to our current society is really interesting because we are a society run on technology. Bluetooth, our phones talking to our Alexa, Amazon, our Echo Dots, whatever. We're building up this artificial intelligence all around us. And this movie wisely taps into that. And it seems to have a lot of old school glee in some of the things that it does. It's got some really creative, fun kills. That I won't spoil here. One of them really got under my skin. I was like, ooh, I almost kind of had to look away. And that's not like me because I'm a big horror fan. And then there's also one of the things that's really cool about this movie is that it's essentially our heroes, the people we care about in this movie, they're kids. They're all 13 years old. And so that's kind of a throwback to the 80s too, because you don't really do that much these days, especially not in horror. Maybe it's a thing that Stranger Things has kind of revamped as kids can be in scary situations and kids can... There's this one scene in this movie that I'm not going to be specific. There's this one scene in this movie involving a kid, and I can't believe they did what they did. But it was kind of cool. It's funny. Which is kind of surprising. The original movies were funny too, but this is a movie that just relishes the kill scenes. It does everything with a sense of humor, genuinely creepy. And I was thinking, because I am thinking during movies, and I'm like, is this movie going to do anything to surprise me? Because if it can't surprise me, why does it exist? It actually did do some things to surprise me, especially in the last half. The final act, especially the third act, did a lot of things that kind of surprised me, but I like it. It's not great. It's not mind-blowing, and there's this huge elephant in the room that it shouldn't exist in the first place because the real Chucky is still out there. But see, here's the thing. I've been in the horror community for a long time. The filmdom community, whatever you want to call it. I've seen, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, the Friday the 13th remake, the Leprechaun, all these things that, these franchises that have existed for decades. And then these new movies come out that kind of reboot. And we all, the fan community always pushes them away at first. But give it time. We'll work it in. We are always ultimately forgiving of these things that we love. I've seen it. I've seen it happen with all of those things. With Nightmare on Elm Street, that will happen with this. And all we really need is a good excuse as for why this movie, if they could tie this in with a continuity side thing, it's so-and-so, then it just becomes Chucky of Earth 2 or whatever. All it needs is an explanation for why it exists to tie into the overall mythology. and will probably be good because it's not a bad movie. It's really not. On a 5 cereal spoon scale, I'm going to give this one 3.5 out of 5. It's not great, but again, it's decent. It's better than I was expecting it to be for a movie as born out of cynicism as this seems to have been. But Aubrey Plaza is, kind of cool as the hot, troubled mom. Mark Hamill is the voice of Chucky, and he actually does a good job with it. It's Mark Hamill. He's Mark Hamill. It's not the Joker, and it's not Luke Skywalker, but it's somewhere kind of in the middle of those things. So, but it's fun. Stay tuned. The end credits have a song. It's Mark Hamill singing, and it's kind of cool. A lot of this movie is just kind of cool. Nothing mind-blowing, but it's okay. So, 3.5 cereal spoons out of 5. Guys, if you've seen it, let me know what you think. Can you get over the fact that this is like Chucky of Earth 2? We already have our prime Chucky. This is just extra Chucky. What do you guys think? If this movie had just been called like Buddy, I think we'd be all over it. We'd be like, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's just Buddy. But it's not. It's Child's Play, and this is Chucky, and that's kind of weird. But it's I don't know. It's not terrible. Guys, thanks for hanging out watching this video review. I appreciate you guys so very much. Take care, and until next time, I will catch you later.